I want to see if the audio works.
Okay. Test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Scripture Snippets. So this week, we're going to be talking about trust. Trust in the Bible is basically defined as this. It's something worthy of you to put your confidence in. Okay? So we're going to talk about how can we trust God right now? And I created a little acronym to help us wrap our heads around this and apply it to our lives, okay? Using the word trust. So, first letter, T. Okay, the first word that came to mind for this, or the most meaningful word, was time. As you remember, we talked about Exodus 33 in the last video. Moses gave his time to God by spending time in the tent of meeting, and he would converse with God there. And he also went up to Mount Sinai for 40 days. He spent time in the presence of God, and this is where we want to be, you guys. We want to put our time with God. If we're not giving God our time, it's going to be really hard to trust in Him. Okay, so that's the first one. R, we have the word redemption, and we have the word righteousness. If we're in right standing with God, it's going to be easy for us to stay in His presence, to give Him time. If we don't feel like we can be in His presence, we're going to want to get away as soon as possible. Sometimes we get around people who we don't think like us, so we just kind of avoid that person. We don't want to have that kind of relationship with God. We want to enter into God's presence with confidence, knowing that He loves us and that He bore all of our sin, and we're in right standing with Him. So that's R. U, understanding, okay? Understanding, we're looking at a proverb that we've gone over a few times. Proverbs 9, chapter 9, verse 10, which says this: the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. We need to get into His presence with time and stay in there with this righteousness, knowing that we're set free so that we can know Him. And from that knowledge of knowing God is going to come this understanding of different situations. We just have this, it just produces this like spiritual intuition in our lives, and we can have this perspective of being with God. Okay, so that's you understanding. S, sanctify. Okay, this word sanctification is like this discipleship process. It's this process of becoming like Jesus. Okay, and really it's a big part of the trust process, because we're going to encounter situations where we're not going to want to trust. We're coming into temptation and fear and anxiety and different things. And those can be stumbling blocks to trust God. But rather than them being stumbling blocks, let them be opportunities to trust God. Opportunities to God take care of some insecurities or some things that aren't the right way of thinking. Okay, so it's a sanctification process. Use those moments to get closer to Jesus. Okay, and this word triumph is the last one. Triumph. We need to start getting this perspective that God is always triumphant, okay? And that we're coming from this place of victory, not towards victory, okay? God already took care of everything, okay? We're just kind of along for the ride, and we're going to serve Him, but He is the one that's doing the work, the real work, okay? So we need to have this victorious mindset, knowing that God is going to win, or God already has won, okay? If we have that mindset, it's going to be really much easier to trust in Him, because He's always victorious. When you're inviting Jesus along, you're inviting victory, because He never loses. He's that good. Okay, so that's the acronym. I ran through it really quick. And 2 questions for you to talk about with your family. What are you trusting God for right now? You know, during this social distancing time. Okay, what is something that you're really struggling with and you need to trust God for? Okay, talk about that. And 2, which one of these letters or words is challenging for you? What kind of was like uncomfortable for you to hear? You know, that's probably one that you need to focus on. Okay, maybe it's redemption and righteousness. You don't feel like you can be in the presence of God because you feel dirty. You're like, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be with God. Whatever it is, talk about that. I'm going to connect with you guys throughout the week, ask you what kind of came up during your discussion, and during this little video. Okay, so I'm going to connect with you guys very soon. I'll see you guys on Monday for the next Scripture Snippet.